Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Hello, you're welcome to today's edition of Money Radio on Leadership Podcast. Money Radio is a program that brings to you business stories and ideas on leadership podcasts and issues of businesses around the world. My name is Innocent Odo. I'm not alone in the studio. I am here with my guests. To my left, I have Chinelo Chike. Chinelo, welcome to the program. I have Kes Hammond. Kes, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So today we are looking at industrialized and commercialized agriculture as Panacea for the unemployment that is troubling Nigeria. And you will agree with me that nations of the world are making serious investments in improving agriculture and technology in their countries. And so they are producing goods and services that they use as foreign exchange in order to add value to the economy, to expand it, and of course, reduce the level of unemployment in those areas. So we're looking at how Nigeria can make such investments in the area of industrialized agriculture, and also how to commercialize the goods and services in the agricultural sector that we produce in Nigeria so that they can be marketable all over the world for us to also enjoy the benefits of foreign exchange and add value to our economy. And like I said, have introduced my guests, and we'll go into the discussion in earnest. Chinedu, when you hear about industrialized and commercialized agriculture, what exactly comes to mind?
For me, industrialized or commercialized agriculture is the kind of agriculture that takes up a huge lot of land space and is usually farmed with a lot of machinery. So that means a lot of investment is involved. It doesn't necessarily always fall down to a sole ownership. It could be owned by a lot of people. It could be owned by cooperatives, so on.
Oh, great. Owned by cooperatives. And so putting hands together. Mm-hmm. And of course, when you talk about the investment now, you're talking about investing in agricultural implements that are modern in nature.
Yes.
You talk about employing the services of tractors, harvesters, planters, and all of that.
Even drones that go around gathering information
very
on the
great.
crops. Yeah.
So, but we are not doing that at the moment.
Yes, we're not. For many reasons. I'll start with insecurity. Then we'll also look at we don't really have that much of investment going on in agriculture. I think agriculture is largely owned by individuals, especially those who have money that can invest in these lands. But it needs more than that, because outside of the country, you have people who come together as cooperatives and own farms and farm in a community. They can decide to own a farm and create farms and farm, and that way it makes it easier for everybody around, and even makes fresh foods available for people. So beyond security and lack of investment, and you don't just invest in machinery and stop there, right? You have to also invest in the techs that will help you to monitor what is going on in your farm, especially this present day and age where we have drones flying around to monitor plants, to even detect pests and stuff. So a lot of things that we need to do that's not going in. And of course, we are not capitalizing very much too on. We have these apps that are coming out now, even for investing in farming, and even apps that are coming out for making deliverables straight from the farm to the table. So these are gaps that we have all over throughout.
All right, I turn it over to you, Kes. Some time ago, when I traveled to Israel, I understand they have a collective called kibbutz.
Yeah.
Where, of course, just like Chidodo said, a collective effort in the production of agricultural, crops and adding value to them, in a sense of using industrial, capacity, and also to add the commercial value to it, so that it will add value to the economy and then boost relations. What do you call it now? Values.
Yeah.
So she has enumerated some points. Vast land in Nigeria, clement weather in Nigeria, the hardworking people in Nigeria, especially the youth population. Now, all we need to do is to ensure that we put all these energies together by way of modernizing this agriculture instead of the old implement that our forefathers, were using in those days. Yes, I know there are a group of farmers, especially the big ones, who may import tractors and harvesters and even the drones that she talked about. But this is on a very small scale. Talking about agriculture that provides a greater number of job opportunities for Nigerians. This sector is not being looked into in terms of that industrial value we should add to it.
Yes, you make the point. She to make a good point. We don't really have enough machinery tilling our soil. Like you said, the weather is clement. The climate is clement. You have people who are willing to work. But the way we are going won't really cut it because let's put things into perspective. Right now, according to a report from the International Food Research Institute, there is this report that Nigeria is actually about the lowest in the world when it comes to mechanization.
Yes.
Nigeria, well, the Food and Agriculture Organization recommends that you have 1.5 tractors, 1.5 tractors per hectare, 1.5 horsepower of tractors per hectare. Nigeria is 0.27.
I know where
We are very low.
Yes.
A similar report said that Nigeria, about out of the 100% of, say, the number of Nigerians who do farming, who are into agriculture, 70% of Nigerians just do the labor by hand, tilling the soil by hand. 20% is employed, they use animals like the
Subsistence farmers.
to plow the land. The bulls carry those what they were practicing in Israel,
In
ancient Israel, and only 10% is mechanized, and that 10% is majorly the agriculture companies. I don't know for the purpose of advertisement. Let me not name them, but we know them. So only about 10% do that kind of farming, which is mechanized farming. So 70 plus 90, you can fairly say 90% of the farming within Nigeria by hand, which is not encouraging. It is difficult, especially when you see people, young people like to add, or they like to do work with swagger. Let me put it that way.
Yes.
Yeah, when people are doing, they want to. People, there is dignity in labor.
Yes.
You need to dignify people. So when we have tractors, like you have a kind of tractor, a young person operating this machine will feel proud that he has a job, and he will see what he does per hour, and he will feel proud of himself. But you have somebody going with hoe and cutlass, they're just going for a fast. You can't go anywhere. The country won't go anywhere. That is why we see the rural urban migration. Yes, that drift is actually increasing. And those are some of the reasons.
Well, you can see that the picture you just painted here is not too good for agricultural sector. If you have just about 10% of mechanized farming in the country, that is not the way to go. I mean, if you have to put in more effort to make sure that the other 70% that have not been reached are reached with this mechanized system, so that we'll be proud to attract young people. Remember, what we're saying is to ensure that we use this as a panacea for the unemployment that is plaguing the country. Wherever you go today, you hear about some very ugly stories, ugly news associated with the youth and their quest for quick money and all that. Now we're saying that if we mechanize agriculture, make it more attractive, more open to the young people. I know they are so savvy in terms of technology these days. See what they can do with technology, and see how you're going to expand the horizon of technology to these young people so that they can see it in agriculture and embrace it. And once they embrace it, that's like an idea whose time has come to begin to, develop a life of its own, and the nation will benefit from that. But right now, the thing is not happening because, of course, the old implement our ancestors used in the past, we're still using them, and it's not attracting the young people, especially the ladies, if I may say.
Well, we like what we say, sexier technology.
Okay.
So, well, for me, I would love to. I always say it. I would love to have garden of my own, or even if it's not a garden. There is this system of farming where they farm in containers, and it's being used a lot in urban, urban farming. So it's hydro farming,
hydroponics,
hydroponics,
like
yes. So I mean, you don't even necessarily have to even go that far into the remote areas to farm. You can farm right in the city center by using hydroponics farming. Where it's basically nutrient water that you use in planting. I know a lady who does that here in Abuja, and she delivers fresh fruits directly from her containers located within Abuja to the table.
And Chinelo, I can imagine when you are in the kitchen and you want to maybe use pepper, I imagine how proud you feel. You want to just pluck pepper from your...
I mean, that makes sense. That makes so much sense. I mean, it makes your food fresh and even much more
nutritious.
Yeah, nutritious. So these are things we also need to look at. I mean, some people are not ready to go out into the fields to do that work. This is another thing that could supplement for that one, to do that farming within those containers, and they don't have to even go so far to endanger themselves. But we look at this. But another part I was also thinking about when discussing the entire thing is the fact that I'm watching a video of a Kenyan farmer, a lady who's farming, and she mentioned that she was using something we call regenerative farming. But don't forget, the world is going sustainable right now, and we need to consider all these things once they are still doing, because it can't be commercial alone. You can also add the sustainable aspect of farming to balance things out. So this lady has one plot of land, but in this one plot of land, she raises chickens, she farms plantains, she farms what's it called? I've forgotten the other food she farms there. So what she does is that she has cows in one side of her farm. These cows, of course, they do their normal natural business, which she uses to manure the farm. Then she also uses some of these manures where she uses it to prepare, and also as some other the way she uses as feed for some of her other crops, other animals in the farm. So she's doing so many things within this farm space, and then she has this biotechnology that she uses to ferment some of the mash because it's not to make food for other people. So it's like a circle. It's still what it's still what our fathers did before, but she's doing that with technology helping her. She's doing that with that small space. So I mean, this is something that we also need to look into making available. In conflict areas like Afghanistan and Iran, you see people, the World Health Organization are there, and they are helping people to bring food available by creating rooftop gardens, by using the same rooftop to create a system of making food available for children in schools so that they eat at least lunch in school before they go home to work. So there are so many things that we can look at to combine with the mechanical part of it, but it all falls down on making these things available. And they're not cheap, they're expensive.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
So we also are looking at ways to help people to afford it too.
Yeah, especially now that we're talk about paucity of funds, that we need to go for funds from elsewhere. Now that it's difficult to generate that ourselves. Well, if you're still with us, we've been talking about industrialized and commercialized agriculture as a panacea for the unemployment that is troubling Nigeria. I've been in the studio with Chinelo, Chikelo, and Kes Hammond. Don't go away, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue the discussion.
sponsorship, and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're still on Money Radio on Leadership Podcast, a program that brings you business stories around Nigeria and other parts of the world. Before we went on that short break, we were talking about experiences in some countries like just mentioned, and how we can replicate it and, of course, spread it across Nigeria so that young people can embrace that kind of idea and use it to, they can translate their idea into something productive for all of us. But there's something that actually is disruptive if economic terms to you, I guess. The Food and Agricultural Organization you mentioned earlier had once warned that Nigeria faces the risk of hunger. I think in 2021, if drastic measures are not taken rather to invest in agriculture. This is because of some of the deficits that we have suffered recently, especially, of course, the threat of insecurity in parts of northern Nigeria. So it has actually become incumbent on all of us that this issue of industrializing and mechanizing our farms and then using commercialized attributes to sell our product has become really necessary. So what the thing is that raised an issue of paucity of funds, and the government has always complained that they don't have enough funds to invest in agriculture, especially mechanized agriculture, because of you can see the exchange rate. The cost of one tractor, you mentioned about tractor to be in the field, but then the cost of bringing those tractors into the country are quite enormous, and right now the government doesn't have as much. So what do we do? Do we turn to private sector initiatives, or how then do we solve this deficit problem?
But when it comes to the cost of importing the different imports, those things we import, the costs actually differ from item to item. And when it comes to agricultural items, the input cost is or the levies or tariffs or whatever is reduced on agricultural products. And there are a few companies actually that produce or assemble tractors in Nigeria.
Yes.
Chinelo mentioned something that is very instructive earlier, and I would like to touch on that. She talked about cooperatives. In some parts of Africa, and I think it's practiced in Nigeria, in some parts of Nigeria, they have this cooperative. A group of farmers come together and say, look, today is Tuesday, this is your land, we are going to clear the bush. And everybody in that village goes there, all the men, the women, or maybe the wife of the owner of that land they are going to clear that day will do the cooking, and they will all eat. That is that day. Maybe after 2 days, they will go to another person's farm, and that is cooperative. They cooperate and they get those things done. It is better than a single person clearing a huge expanse of land. So it makes sense that way. They can look. Government does not have all the money to do these things. It's clear. Before I go ahead, let me put one or two things into perspective. Nigeria, according to a report by that same International Food Research Institution, made this point clear that Nigeria has something in the neighborhood of 30,000 tractors
Across the country, yes.
With about 1,000 being added every year. How many tractors does Nigeria need? According to the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Nigeria needs like 746,666 tractors. Yes. So you can see that the gap is huge.
Yes.
The gap is huge. Government cannot provide all of that. Government is Right now, we have security problem on our hands, and so government. In fact, in 2022 budget, much of it is actually devoted to security, because without security, we can't even fund. So with that, back to what Chinelo said, individuals can come together as a cooperative and assist themselves. Maybe a community can come, join hands, and even if they can't buy, if they can't provide
the limit to what those
yes,
individuals
there's
can do.
always a limit. But even if they can't provide that, they can't collect that amount or gather that amount at that time to buy tractors or other implements, they can get whatever they can, approach a bank or approach the CBN. There are programs by the CBN to support those kind of initiatives. Approach the CBN or approach any bank. We have so and so amount of money. We are farmers. We want to invest, but we need so and so, and this is what we have. Can you borrow us, or can you lend us X amount of money? We add to this. We'll get this after so and so time. We will be able to repay your money, and of course, government agencies like the CBN will be happy to provide such things. With that, little by little, agriculture will improve. I want to put another thing into perspective.
Yes.
A report I read by an international institute said, and it was quoted by an agric magazine, that the entire world population, the population of the entire world,
nearly 8 billion now.
yes, nearly 8 billion now, assuming each person has, or each person occupies like 4 meters, 4 square meters per person. Say this room we are in, maybe is about 4 square meters per person. Assuming each individual in the world occupies 4 square meters per person. 4 square meters is bigger than this room. Yes, but assuming each person occupies that amount, the entire world will be able to fit in the state of Texas in the United States, and the rest of the landmass of the entire world can be left for farming. The state of Texas is about the size of Nigeria. So the entire world, as I'm just trying to put into perspective how big or how vast the agricultural land we have is that can be invested in. So assuming the entire world comes to Nigeria or fits into Nigeria, the rest of the world can actually. But that tells you that Nigeria has enough land, 960 something thousand. Nigeria has enough land that we are not making use of. Look, travel in places of the north, it's only in southeastern Nigeria. You'll see that you travel for maybe the next village, you see the next year, but in other parts of the country, you see huge expanse of forests.
And that reminds me,
grassland. And if you just make use, instead of growing trees that don't add value to the stomach infrastructure, we can turn those things into either cocoa, we can turn them into palm, cash crops that will make money. But what we need is that investment and those implements that we need to.
Yes, indeed. Chinelo, you are asking something, okay?
Yeah, I wanted to add something to that. I mean, I've heard of cooperatives, even in workplaces, there are cooperatives that come together to make household items or machineries available at a lesser price for their workers, right? For the workers in their office. I'm also looking at it this way: if cooperatives could start looking more towards agriculture, even if they are not in the agriculture circle, we could do a sort of way of investment where you come together as a cooperative, and then you look at a need in the agricultural sector. What need and what role can I fill in there? Maybe, for instance, you think about, okay, I can kind of like invest in a tractor. I have one single tractor or maybe 2 tractors I can invest in and rent to farmers. That is a way of also going about it. You're making money for yourself, right? Or you come out in a group like that and you think, okay, we are going to invest in a cold room a cold room or a cold room transportation system that will be driving things to keep it fresh until it gets to the destination. That's also another way of investing. So it mustn't all go into the farm and farm. They can all look at things, even technologies, investing in technologies as a cooperative that can help move agriculture forward.
Yes,
Another
thing I wanted to look at is that yes, the over dependence on this imported technology for agricultural use has created another kind of problem for us. Now we have agencies of government, we have a national office for technology transfer and acquisition and promotion, NOTAP. We have a Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, Ministry of Agriculture, and so on and so forth. But virtually everything that we use now, including agricultural products and implements, we use in driving. Just anything that we use in driving agriculture today is important.
Yes.
So the research agencies, research organizations, the brain box of Nigeria, where have they been all these years that we cannot even produce little things that will help drive agriculture that should be indigenous to Nigeria instead of this over dependence on imported agricultural mechanized materials?
That's where sometimes you need to bring in. Government needs to step in, not necessarily to put money into this kind of programs, or just to create that
enabling environment.
Not just the enabling environment, spark that idea among people. Chinelo, I would suggest that you go and establish your consultancy office. Just to spark that idea among people. And these things will, it's just that prime mover initiative will spark things that people, this is what we're supposed to be doing. This thing would have helped us long ago to move from this position to the next position. And we do that. That makes me, one agency that I am not proud of in the country. And I don't understand why they seem to be so much in the back. Well, maybe they're not getting enough money from the federal government. But this National Orientation Agency, they seem just to be getting salaries. And
they complain about
they
complain about lack of funds and capacity. They cannot build enough capacity. They don't have the funding.
What about NBE?
National
Yes, and if they can't go and make this kind of initiatives, it's just to conscientize people. Do this, do that. Those kind of things can work. By doing that, you are actually creating jobs.
Yes, of course.
But I don't understand. Go and set up your consultancy.
I think Chinelo has shown some passion for this agricultural sector.
I would love. I mean, I plant.
You own a farm?
Well, not yet. I want to, not a very big farm, maybe just a sort of garden, just to get fresh foods to the table. But I'm not averse to investing in agriculture. So, I mean, so long as I'm assured that it's something that once I pour my money into its sector and I'll get my money back. Though I see a lot of young people now investing with some group, when I say group organizations, they have, there's one they call Piggy Vest, where you see various options of maybe agricultural things to invest in, and then you send your money. I have no idea how that works yet, but obviously you click whichever one you want to invest in, and then of course your money goes into that place, and then you are getting your returns monthly. But I would love to. I would obviously love to, and I'm actually involved in a cooperative, but they are looking more into recycling than agriculture. But that's still not a bad idea, because recycling is also part of supporting the system of agriculture as well.
All right. We've been talking about industrialized and commercialized agriculture as Panacea for the unemployment that is troubling Nigeria. And especially, of course, we're trying to invest in this sector to ensure that our young people have something to do by the time we spread agriculture to all corners mechanized agriculture to all corners of the country, to make it so attractive for the young people to become involved in this sector. It's a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining us in the program.
Thank you.
Mr. Kess, it's always a pleasure having you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's on that note that we draw the curtains on today's edition of Money Radio. We promise to bring you a bumper edition when next week come. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.